True Tennessee Stories, Murderous Mary. This is one of Tennessee's most bizarre and genuinely dark stories. And I feel like its positive ending nearly 100 years later isn't talked about enough. In Tennessee, more than 100 years ago, they hanged an elephant. Not figuratively, not as a joke. They put a chain around her neck, they lifted her up with a railroad crane, and they executed her in front of a crowd in Erwin, Tennessee, in Unicoi County. Her name was Mary, and after this story, they called her Murderous Mary. And yes, there's a real photograph of what happened. I'll show it to you later, but I'll give you a warning first. For now, if you want to hear more true Tennessee stories like this, please like, subscribe, or follow my page. It'll really help me tell more great Tennessee stories just like this one. Mary was a 5-ton Asian elephant, supposedly the largest elephant in captivity at the time. She'd been performing with a circus called the Sparks World Famous Show for years. She was good at it. She did tricks. They said she could hit a baseball, and the crowds loved her. On September 11th, 1916, the circus rolled into a town called St. Paul, Virginia, just across the Tennessee line. A hotel janitor named Red Eldridge approached the head elephant trainer and talked his way into a job as an assistant elephant keeper. He had zero experience. The next morning, the circus train crossed into Tennessee and pulled into Kingsport. During a parade through town, the story says Mary reached down to eat a watermelon rind off the ground, and Eldridge jabbed her behind the ear with a bull hook. Looks like this. Mary grabbed him with her trunk, threw him to the ground, and stepped on his head. Mary killed Red Eldridge in front of hundreds of people. Now, here's where it gets into something really dark about the era. The reaction wasn't grief or even just shock. It was a demand for execution. Neighboring towns sent word that they would boycott the circus if Mary wasn't put down. The circus owner, Charlie Sparks, was facing financial ruin. At first, they tried shooting her. A man fired into her, but the bullets couldn't penetrate her hide. Someone suggested hanging, and Charlie Sparks said yes. So they moved the circus to Erwin, Tennessee. Erwin had a Clinchville railroad yard with a 100-ton industrial derrick, the kind of crane used to lift wrecked trains back onto the track. The date and time was set, and about 2,500 people showed up to watch. They put a chain around Mary's neck. They started the engine, and the chain tightened around her neck, and they started to lift her. But the chain broke. Mary fell and broke her pelvis. She was lying there on the ground, badly injured, while the crowd watched on. Next, they rigged a heavier chain, and the second time, it worked. All right, now I'm going to show you that kind of famous image of Mary's hanging. It's from an Erwin newspaper back in the day. But if this is not your kind of thing, just look away for a second. I'll let you know when the coast is clear. All right, here's the image of Mary's hanging. It is hard to look at, but it is real. All right, the image is gone and the coast is clear. Mary was buried somewhere near the railroad tracks. The exact location of her grave is not really known today, or not known to me anyway. There's a lot of ways to think about this story. The first one is plain and simple. A man died, and that demanded justice. And a killer animal can't be trusted around people in the future. A second way to think about it is that the animal acted on instinct. After the execution, a vet found that Mary had a severely infected tooth right in the spot where Eldridge jabbed her. And she didn't know this man. And Red Eldridge, he was completely unqualified for the job. But that's the story of Murderous Mary. And it happened in Tennessee. But there is a positive twist to this story, though. Erwin spent the last 100 years wrestling with this. In 2016, on the centennial of Mary's death, the town held a week of events. the Erwin Elephant Revival. They commissioned artists to paint fiberglass elephant sculptures and placed them all around town. There was a parade and a play, Mary's Story 100 Years Later, written and performed by the Unicoi County High School Drama Department. The proceeds went to the Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee. It's a refuge where an elephant like Mary could live out their days in peace. One of the festival organizers, Jamie Rice, said back in 2016, quote, "We want Erin to be known as the town that loves elephants and one of the biggest supporters of the Elephant Sanctuary. We cannot change what happened 100 years ago, but we do have a choice in how we react to this tragedy, and we choose to create something positive. I think this would make Mary proud," she said. That festival drew more than $6,300 for the Elephant Sanctuary. Now, some today will argue that Erwin does not deserve all of the blame for Mary's death. It started in Kingsport, and calls for her execution came from miles around. Erwin just happened to have that rail yard with a crane big enough to do the job. As for Mary, she deserves to be remembered, even if her strange death is the way she's remembered. And that is a true Tennessee story. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Toby Sells with State and Beale. Hey, let me know in the comments if you have more great true Tennessee stories. I'll look them up and tell them right here on State and Beale. Hey, thank y'all so much.